So you ready to talk about Disney princesses?
I am so ready.
Oh shit, I thought you were going to say to talk about Disney princesses and took a sip. Fuck it, let's talk about Disney princesses. Few companies on Earth have a series of characters under their control as well recognised and a corporate war chest as deep as that of Disney. Oddly, despite the near limitless resources at its command, Disney self-admittedly do almost no market research into one of its most valuable and well-recognised pieces of intellectual property, the Disney fucking princesses.
So, who are the Disney princesses?
The Disney princesses are a series of 11 characters from Disney movies that have appeared in their films over the years. And contrary to what people might expect, the Disney princesses trademark does not include every princess to appear in a Disney movie. For example, Elsa from Frozen, despite being a princess in a Disney movie, is not an official Disney princess and instead enjoys a position as, paradoxically, an unofficial official Disney princess in merchandise and in the eyes of fans. I'd love to explain why that's the case, but there has been no official confirmation from Disney about why certain characters are Disney princesses and why some of them aren't. And it's really weird, isn't it, to think because Mulan is a princess, despite the fact she's not royalty, and so is Pocahontas, but Elsa is not. And in that vein, have you seen any of the stuff floating around online, like the petitions to make characters from the pieces of property that Disney's bought, like Star Wars, Marvel, and all the Fox stuff, official Disney princesses?
No, I've not seen that.
Because if you think about it, like Disney now owns Star Wars, and who's a princess in Star Wars? Princess fucking Leia. She could be a Disney princess. Or what about Marvel? What about Shuri from Black Panther?
Yeah.
Isn't she the princess of Wakanda? Or, and you've got my favourite one from Fox, the Aliens. Because the Aliens have a queen and you have Praetorian guards in alien fiction, which are seen as princesses of the alien race. And I'll be honest, I would love to see a piece of official Disney merchandise that just has the alien queen.
Just imagine like the pieces of merch you get with all of them on, and it's just like all the older generic sort of Disney princesses, and then you've got the alien in the background.
You've got Ariel and Belle, and then just in the background the alien fucking queen with a tiara. We don't have to imagine it, Nisha, because you can Photoshop it for the audience now. So pick. Just like, I'm sure there's plenty of just like generic images out there of all the Disney princesses. And in the background, you now have to just put the alien fucking queen. And what other princesses can we put in there to, like, flesh out this roster? So for starters, put fucking Elsa from Frozen in. I don't care. She's a Disney princess in my eyes. Yeah. And you know what? Princess Leia as well.
Could include Princess Fiona.
Princess Fiona, who from Shrek? That's Universal, isn't it? You know what? Put her in anyway, because this is our Photoshop. Because I'm sure that Disney will buy Universal eventually and own that. And I'm now thinking of Marvel. So if we can get Shuri in, but you've got to put Shuri in like a battle gauntlets from the end of Black Panther, because that's fucking awesome. But are there any other characters who could be considered to be princesses?
From Marvel?
Yeah, from the Marvel movies. Because I'm currently thinking, are there any other kings and queens that are introduced except for Wakanda? But I know in my head I'm probably forgetting one and people are now super mad. So I'm now drawing a blank on another Fox princess we can get, because just the alien queen is just too present in my mind. So have you got any ideas?
Or to add more aliens into the mix.
Always need more alien princesses.
From Futurama, you've got Lur.
Oh yeah, because Lur is the king of that planet, isn't he, I think?
Omicron Persei.
Yeah, and surely his wife, by default, will be a queen or a princess.
Yeah.
Fuck it, yeah, put
I'm
Lur
sure
in.
she's got a crown.
Put her in anyway, she's there. And you know what? Welcome to your new Disney pantheon. Wait for their, cameo in a Wreck-It Ralph sequel. And before we move on, I just want to quickly discuss the fact there are other Disney characters who aren't considered official Disney princesses, despite the fact they have a better claim of being royalty than some of the people who are considered Disney princesses, like Vanellope von Sweets. And they even make a joke about that in the Wreck-It Ralph movie. But you've got Nala from The Lion King. And I'm just going to argue that if you're called the Lion fucking King, there has to be a lion princess. So why can't it be Nala? And to be honest, I would love to just see that. Because to an outside observer, all you see is just this lion just prowling and trying to hunt these 11 random women who just don't fucking know. Can you imagine that image? You just go, oh cool, there. It's just 11 women and a lion. Just a fucking lioness ready to pounce and rip their throats out. And I would pay to see that fucking movie or buy that merch.
So there are plenty of Disney princesses.
Yes.
But who came up with Disney princesses?
Yeah, and people can't see what she's making big giant air quotes, you've learned well. Well, the guy who came up with the idea of Disney Princesses, the brand, is a guy called Andy Mooney, who worked for Nike before he worked for Disney and was inspired to create a series of merchandise based on Disney princesses and make that its own brand within Disney. When he went to a Disney on Ice show and observed that most of the little girls in the audience were wearing homemade Disney princess costumes. And he thought to himself, well, why don't we sell those? Because that is a gap in the market we could absolutely, exploit, and there's clearly a demand for it. And you'd think, audience at home, that when higher-ups at Disney were presented with, an opportunity to make basically infinite money from something they already owned by a guy who was like a marketing executive for one of the biggest companies on earth, they were like, immediately done that, but no. And higher-ups at Disney, including Roy fucking Disney, poo-pooed the idea. And they didn't want to capitalise on or merchandise their legacy content. And they had to be convinced that making official Disney princess stuff, will make you money, because clearly there is a demand for it. And if we're not filling it, they're just going to go buy unofficial knockoffs or make it themselves.
Yeah.
And you know what? Disney is not about that fucking creativity. As evidenced by the existence, have you seen this? Toy Story 4 is out now. We're not going to spoil it, but the main plot point is that a character in that film makes themselves a toy and it becomes sentient. And it's their most beloved toy because they made it.
Yeah.
Disney sell an official version of that toy.
Oh, no.
It's like... The whole point of the movie is that the character creates it, and because they made it, they love it, despite it being a fucking spoon with pipe cleaner arms and legs. And Disney sell an official version that you can't change.
It's like they should sell it in pieces that you can build yourself.
Yeah, it's like they sell Mr. Potato Head merchandise where you can't take his eyes off. The whole point of Mr. Potato Head is that it's customizable. But Disney, obviously, because they've got such a stranglehold on the image and the likeness of that specific version, sell merchandise where you can't change it. Fucking hell.
It's like it makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense.
Which is why it's so baffling that when they were presenting you should probably sell official Disney princess dresses. There's obviously a huge market for them. You'll make lots of money. No, fuck that.
There must be a reason why they didn't want to make the dresses.
Yeah, because obviously Disney is all about making that paper. And one of the purported reasons why Disney didn't want to make official Disney princess merchandise, and especially make Disney princess itself into a brand, because they were highly resistant to the idea of Disney princesses appearing in media or merchandise at the same time. Right, ostensibly to protect the individual mythologies of each character, and for that reason they have a number of bizarre stipulations, including, and I'm not making this up, that merchandise containing more than one Disney princess cannot have them making eye contact with one another, which is why, and I'm sure there'll be examples behind me as I say this, on every piece of official Disney merchandise featuring more than one princess, they just stare off in a random direction, which I think makes each Disney princess seem like a complete arsehole, because they won't make eye contact with someone 3 foot in front of them. It's like, with the merchandise behind me, it's clearly trying to show that they're all gathered together in a group at the same time, but none of them are looking at one another. It's like with Spice Girls reunion photos, where you can clearly tell that Victoria Beckham thinks she's better than everybody else and just refuses to look at anyone else in the room.
They want to keep their own individuality, don't they?
Despite the fact they're now being marketed as a group, and that's so funny to me. And I think people are obviously wondering now, Wreck-It Ralph, what happened there? And the story is that took fucking ages to get done. Because Disney is so protective of this specific brand. They had somebody just sitting on production during those scenes to make sure that they never went off script, and that every stipulation they demanded was upheld.
Yeah.
And I consider that to be the most impressive feat of just corporate wrangling, to get Disney of all fucking companies to let them use those characters in a scene and interact with one another, because they almost never do that. Yeah. And the rumour is that was going to be a test the waters type thing for a potential Disney princess crossover movie.
All right.
Where they all team up, and Disney have come out and said no, we're not going to do that, despite the fact it's the best scene in the entire film.
I'd say that's my favourite scene.
Yeah, because they hate the idea of the individual movies each princess comes from being diluted by doing these crossovers. bear in mind, this is the company that owns Marvel, who are doing MCU crossovers just all up in this bitch, and seemingly want to own every piece of media in the world to combine it all in some way. And I just think that's great that Disney wants to have their cake and eat it too, and is somehow doing that.
So, apart from not looking at each other, are there any other rules you have to follow?
This is Disney we're talking about. Of course, there are a bunch of rules. Like, I think in regards to animation, there's a lot of stuff like never go off model. The character must always look this specific way. But another funny one that I like is that no princess can wear an outfit that looks like another princess. And to this end, when they made the Disney Princesses brand, they slightly redesigned a lot of the costumes the princesses wore, so they all had their own distinctive colour palette. So they wouldn't be mistaken for another princess in the pantheon. Yeah. And this is one of the rumoured reasons why Elsa can't be a Disney princess, because there's already a blue princess. And that is such a hilariously petty reason to not have that character included. I'm inclined to believe it's true, because that sounds exactly like something Disney would do, doesn't it? Yeah. So we already have a blue princess. But this is like one of the most popular characters you've ever made. Well, we already have a blue one. But she's so popular, but she's blue. And it's like, that's the end of the conversation. It's like, well, fuck me then, I suppose. You're eventually going to run out of colours.
I guess they know the characters better than we do.
They think they do, and to this end, Disney have never conducted any market research into the popularity, scope, reach, or audience of the Disney Princess brand, and are just so supremely confident that anything they slap the Disney Princess trademark logo on will sell, that they don't even bother to check what products people want. Yeah. They just release them and they sell. This, of course, has blown up in Disney's face in the past, because they take this approach with a lot of their merchandise. They tend to not do market research, because if you do market research, there's a chance something will leak. And they're very protective of things leaking in regards to their stories and their movies. Let's put some respect on Elsa for a moment. Let's get her dues for this video, because this did happen with Frozen. So it's not a Disney princess property, but it's a good example of Disney just completely missing the mark in regards to what was going to be popular. After the movie came out, Elsa was the standout character. She's a fucking ice princess. She's got Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat's powers. She's fucking awesome. But Disney, they swaggered in with their dick out into the room and said, "Nah, Anna, though. Anna's going to be the character in this movie the little girls are going to empathise with and want to dress up as. So fuck it, put all the money into Anna merchandise." And obviously when the movie came out, nobody fucking wants Anna merchandise. They all want the Elsa dresses, the Elsa dolls, and Disney didn't make a fucking enough. And it got to the point where they were literally auctioning off the ability to enter into a raffle to buy an Elsa doll, because they made so few of them. Because they assumed that we don't have to do any marketing research. Of course little girls are going to want to be Elsa's wet blanket of a sister. Not realising that Elsa is the villain to an extent of that movie, and the villain's always cooler, and people always want to dress like the villain. So I'm always worried when I see kids want to dress up like fucking Luke Skywalker or some shit. So you want to put a bathrobe on and swing around a stick instead of sick, awesome black samurai armor, and just go around pushing people with the force through windows and shit. You know what, kid? Think bigger. Don't think humble farm boy from space. Think Dark Lord of the Sith. Always set your sights on greatness, kids. That's what the advice I'd give. And obviously they did correct course and make a bunch of Elsa merchandise, but the image I want to leave people with today is that there is probably somewhere out there a gruff old Disney executive who thinks and knows in his own head that he knows more about princesses than little girls. And that's amazing. So since it's been the theme of today's episode, let's discuss princesses in fiction and talk about our favourite ones, whether or not they're from Disney. And do you have any in mind that you've wanted to talk about? Couldn't, because we had to talk about the Disney ones. Well,
the first ones are Disney ones, so I'm not really straying too far from it, but it's one I used to be really obsessed with when I was younger.
Okay.
She wasn't like the typical princess, and the film itself was comedic, and it's Mulan.
Oh yeah, man, I love Mulan.
Also has one of the best soundtracks
Let's get down to business to defeat the... I'll be honest, I'll Make a Man Out of You is the fucking best song ever.
Amazing.
That is my favourite Disney song, behind the ones from a Goofy movie.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love I'll Make a Man Out of You. So I fully agree with that one. I think the trailer for Mulan has come out around when we did this, but I've not watched it yet. Does it look any good?
It looks okay. They've not included
So
Mushu, obviously.
You know what? That's about what I expect from a live-action Disney movie at this point.
There's no Mushu. I don't think there's any Shang.
Yeah, because they're not in the original story.
Yeah,
And
so it's not like the classic Mulan that I know.
Here's a fun fact for people at home. Very clearly, this movie is Disney trying to sell, a film to China, which is now the biggest emergent market for Hollywood. And they originally tried to do the exact same thing with the original Mulan animated movie. And they tried to pitch it to China, which is a big market at the time. Not as big as it is now, but still a very large market. And do you know what the number one piece of feedback from Chinese moviegoers was about Mulan?
Go on.
That Mulan didn't look Chinese. So they tried so hard. They made a movie about like a Chinese fairy tale starring a Chinese character set in China, and they fucked up so badly. Chinese people when she doesn't look Chinese. So I think the correct course is when they actually hired a Chinese actress to play Mulan. But oh my god, that one always cracks me. Well, I'm gonna go for again, it's a Disney princess, but it's a live action one, and it's the one from Princess Diaries, whose name I forget. But I used to love that film because, fun fact about me, I fucking love chick flicks. Both ironically and unironically. Because some are just good and some are just fun to watch and go, oh my god, all the people in this movie are terrible. Yeah. And I love the Princess Diaries. It's Anne Hathaway, which means Anne Hathaway could come back and be a Disney princess. But I'd only agree she did it if she wore that really shitty Batman Catwoman costume she wore in the Dark Knight Rises. That was from the era of the girl power early 2000s movie where it's what's the one with Amanda Bynes where she pretends to be a boy?
She's the man.
Yeah, despite the fact she looks you can immediately tell the moment she walks in that is a girl trying to pretend to be a boy. They don't even try and fucking hide it. But I love all those films.
All out Mean Girls.
Oh man, Mean Girls is the classic. Mean Girls, it's the perfect movie.
It's just so quotable. You can say a quote from it and everyone knows, Mean Girls.
It's so good. Do you know as well, every fucking year, Justin Timberlake messages, who's the girl, it's Lindsay Lohan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Lindsay. Yeah, he messages saying it's gonna be May. Every year, he messages saying that on Twitter. So you fucking JT, Mr. Sexy Back himself, just fucking on it. Oh man, you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about girl power movies because those are awesome. Have you got any other girl power movies you like watching?
One that I used to watch a lot was 13 going on 30.
Oh man, which one's that?
Girl who's 13. She's basically
Is that Freaky Friday?
A little
which
bit,
is another really good movie.
She makes a wish because she's being bullied and stuff. She makes a wish. She's 30 and her birthday, and her parents buy this doll's house with dust on it, fairy dust.
Okay.
And she hides in a closet and starts wishing that she was 30, and this dust falls on her.
So it's big.
Next morning,
it's big.
She wakes up.
Yeah.
So she has to adapt to being 30-year-old, but with a 13-year-old's mind.
Yeah, it's big. I like the reverse though. Have you ever seen? Is it 16 Again?
17 again.
That's it, where Matthew Perry becomes Zac Efron, because we all know that Matthew Perry, and so you know that when Zac Efron gets enough XP, it evolves into Matthew Perry. But that movie, when you watch it as an adult with a critical eye, is one of the most depressing pieces of media ever created. Because think about that movie. The basic plot for anyone who doesn't know is Matthew Perry is depressed and says, I wish I was younger to live my life over again. Wakes up, he's now Zac Efron. He pretends to be another person, and then, shenanigans ensue. But if you watch that movie and you realise, wait a minute, Matthew Perry's character ceases to exist when Zac Efron, enters the scene, and nobody asks where he is.
Yeah,
his family, his job, his children don't even bother to ask where their dad is. No one reports him missing. No one asks where he is. Even his neighbours don't give a shit. So that's one of those things where a person arranges their own funeral. Oh God, the camera's falling apart, but whatever. That's like those stories you hear about people who fake their death and go to their own funeral and no one turns up. He becomes 17 again and finds out that, when you were younger, you were super hot and everyone wanted to bone you, but now you're old, people don't even care if you disappear for a month. It's oh man.
never really thought of it like that.
Just go. I implore anyone who has like access to it, go watch it again and just think in your head in every scene, why is no one asking where Matthew Perry is?
The only scene I think is where it's acknowledged is I think there's a meeting with the lawyers when because they're meant to be getting a divorce. I think, and she's like, my husband's not turning up, but Zac Efron's character turns up to tell her he's not coming or something like that. And
also, no one seems to question the fact that a guy who looks exactly like their dad, their husband, their friend, 13 or 14 years ago, something like that. It's similar to like in Big, where like Tom Hanks's character he's eventually going to grow up to look like a reporter child kidnapper. Just think about that. He's going to grow up and look exactly like Tom Hanks and match the description of a guy who kidnapped himself when he was younger. Or it's like in Back to the Future, where Marty McFly almost gets it on with his own mother. But don't you think it's going to be a bit weird for Marty McFly's dad as he watches his son grow up and realises he looks exactly the same as the guy his wife dated in high school? He's obviously going to assume time travel. He's going to assume an affair went down. And I feel for that guy because he's just going to look and go, why? What? He looks exactly like that guy you dated. Right? Do you ever hear from him again? No, I swear. It's almost like he disappeared. Well, that's what you would say. I want a divorce. Sorry for ruining that movie and the other one, but